The story was spun like a mystery, but it was super, super predictable. Honestly, you figured out who the enemy was at the very beginning, honestly. The biggest saving grace were the zombies and the final boss. Very, very good designs, very good mechanics. I liked it with the gun choices. It was very good. I would consider this game scary. The horror, there's a check mark with the horror. I'm not going to give it to them with the puzzles. There's no puzzles really here. Like I said, this is after Resident Evil 4, so you already know that they're dumbing it down for all the people who are playing this game. It's not for us. It's not for us. Despite Keith and Quint's, uselessness to the story, besides literally being the ones who solve the mystery, they never return. Spoiler. They never, ever return. What was the point of having them in this game? You should have killed them off. We don't see them die. They were memorable characters, actually, but we never see them again. I'm so glad there's a new enemy in this game because Umbrella was getting tiring. In my other video, I talk about how, Umbrella's not in this and Umbrella's not in that. But honestly, I'd rather it be another company because there's always going to be a corporation above somebody else. So Umbrella goes down, there's going to be somebody else. But I thought we were going to look into Tricell. I thought we were looking into, but whatever. That's in the next game I'm going to talk about. But backtracking, there's absolutely no backtracking. There's one time you go in the same place that this girl named Rachel goes through. And another thing, she's kind of a tyrant, but not really. If I were to say Rachel was a tyrant, I would be taking away what makes a tyrant. I would be slandering the tyrant's name. She's just kind of a mini boss, honestly. At best. At worst, she's just a regular zombie. Because she's got the same mechanics as a regular zombie. Usually tyrants have one hits. Different perspectives. Like I said, you got 6 characters that you're looking at, and 3 of them you can play, I do believe. And the zombies, they were there. There were actual zombies. They weren't just balls of flesh. They weren't just masses of moss. And they weren't just the same type of zombie over and over again duplicated. So, looks like Revelations gets a pretty decent grade. Without puzzles, it seems to still keep up as a Resident Evil game. Let's continue. Resident Evil 5 has Chris Redfield and Sheva Alomar. First and foremost, I will not be tolerating any sort of Sheva Alomar slander on my channel. She was not dumb. The AI was stupid. You play a Sheva, Chris does the exact same thing. Waste your ammo, waste your eggs. Honestly, at least she had a bow that had an infinite amount of ammo. What did Chris have? He just can punch boulders. So step off or step on. Y'all pulled a Kingdom Hearts with this one. The Lost in a Nightmare DLC, literally, it gives the context to every single thing that happens in Resident Evil 5. Literally. It should have been, if not chapter 1, the following chapter that Chris told Sheva about Jill and Wesker. This was kind of done in Revelations 1 with Jill when she was talking about Parker and how they met and whatnot, but y'all have no imagination. And despite a lot of people saying 5 is the worst Resident Evil game, it's not. Its saving graces are the multiplayer aspect and the fact that Wesker's in it with DC Douglas's voice. Yes, go off. I don't care which Wesker you like or whatever. He's the coolest. And the dude in Darkside Chronicles does a very good job trying to imitate. But it also ties into the biggest part of Resident Evil. So the main people, the 4 people who created Umbrella, Oswald E. Spencer, James Marcus, Alexander Ashford, and William Birkin. They all created Umbrella. So when they created their group, they were searching for a flower in Africa, which also comes into play with Billy Cohen, which y'all never brought him back, and y'all should have brought Billy Cohen back for Resident Evil 5. And not as a side character to Chris, maybe an antagonist. Maybe instead of doing Irving, some loser dude that we never see again and he dies anyway, you could have put Billy Cohen as the enemy. How about that? And he doesn't have to be good with Chris because he don't know Chris. You know what I'm saying? No imagination, guys. That took me 2 seconds to think about. I wasn't even thinking about that, and I just created a better story than what we got. But besides that, when I say tie into everything about Resident Evil, the 4 main guys that created Umbrella, like I said, we're looking for a plant in Africa. And it's the Ouroboros plant thing that, oh my gosh, like, we found it. They found it. That's a big deal. Wesker finding that plant was a big deal, which means he should have survived Resident Evil 5. He should have taken that plant and left, because that's what his father's goal was. Y'all just made him crazy. Y'all did a Daenerys Targaryen on Wesker and made him go crazy. Like, you think that he's going to do all of this, get to the height of his career, and then die in a volcano? He would have left already. He would have been like, all right, y'all can... He wouldn't have been messing with them. He's like a vendetta, and y'all did this whole hurrah that, oh, this is the end of Wesker. Y'all shouldn't have did that. That's not what 5 should have been. If you're going to put that plant in, and you're going to do in the secret reports and say all this stuff about how they've been looking for this plant for years, and they all die, all of them, they all die. Oswald E. Spencer, killed by Wesker. William Birkin, killed in Resident Evil 2 by Claire and Leon. James Marcus, killed a long time ago, and you see him reanimated in Zero, looking strange. I don't even know. Y'all were literally on acid when you made Resident Evil 0. I think that's one reason why I like it, because it just is out of this world. Like, where'd you get this from? And then him being an opera singer, like, messing with these leeches, it's hilarious. Alexander Ashford, killed in Resident Evil Code Veronica. So they're all dead, right? This plant they died for, because this whole thing was about the plants. It wasn't about world domination. It wasn't about superior race. Those things were later down the line. The original goal was for all of them to find that plant in Africa. All their hard work, everything they've wanted to achieve is achieved. This whole crap that's from the movies where it's like, oh, world domination and all that, that came after. Before, it was just bad guys being bad guys for bad guys' sake. There was an actual motive for Umbrella to actually exist and all this to happen. Most of the people who were a part of the beginning of it, like Alexander Ashford, rich. He had his own island. He was running his own facility. Bruh. And then you just, like, waste the whole potential. Like, you put this thing in this game, you put that plant in this game for us to just not talk about it. It's just in the background. No one really talks about it. You kind of see the plants for like 2 seconds and that's it. It's kind of like a Easter egg. Y'all make what the whole game was supposed to be about an Easter egg. I understand why each character died. They each went down there. They each had, it's horrible that they made Umbrella and did all this crap in the first place, but they each were selfish. In Wesker, yeah, it could have been selfish, but that wasn't his MO. That wasn't his MO. Sorry, I'm not going to believe it. I don't believe that Wesker died in that volcano, and I don't believe he had a child named Jake Mueller. I just don't understand. That's just something I don't believe in. I believe in dragons. I believe in unicorns. I believe in fairies. Before I believe that Albert Wesker died in that volcano, like, whatever, come at me. Like, the lore is kept super well in this game. The action remains there. Literally, this is like one of the most... It's not Call of Duty yet because, like I said, it's still in third person and Call of Duty is known for first person. It's still a big action game. And it reads like a movie. Yet again, just like 4 did. Reads like a movie. There are some jump scares, at least. But it's not scary under any circumstances. It's not a horror, so... It doesn't get anything for that. There's no puzzles. Like I said, moving things, that light puzzle or whatever, that's not just... And you can't just have one and be like, there, that's it. You said you asked for puzzle. Here's a jigsaw puzzle with two pieces in it. Like, I'm like, no. Stop babying us and dumbing the things down for the incoming people. Make it hard for them. Because y'all made it hard for us. So, like, do it. Keep it consistent. You inconsistent fools. You fools. And once again, we're killing people because this is not Anglo-Saxon land. We're in Africa. Just like we were in Spain killing people in their village that they were just living. Like Ouroboros, they're making it really seem like it's a parasite, just like Las Plagas. And I think they do reference Las Plagas too. And Excella, I really do hate Excella, and I hate the fact that the concept art for Excella and the concept descriptions for Excella gave her more to do. Y'all kind of just make her simp for Wesker and die. She gets nothing at all. And then also, she's not Jake Mueller's father because she dies in this game. Spoilers, oopsie whoopsies. But it's been about 50 years, so if you're watching this, you probably know this. Maybe not, because Resident Evil is catering to people who play Call of Duty. And I don't know if that's the same clientele, like I said. Mercenaries and co-op saves the game. Yeah, if it did not have those two things, it would be the worst. Like, it would be. It's unfortunate because Sheva Alomar up in here. And guess what? People are probably going to be like, oh, Sheva does this and Sheva does that. But the AI is pretty bad. Y'all, I don't know if y'all did that on purpose. But it's pretty bad. Like, I don't think I ever even played the game without having a co-op person on Xbox Live. I don't even think I played it alone. So I didn't have a problem, but a lot of people have that same comment to say about the AI. Umbrella with Wesker returns and all that. And I was talking about Tricell. I do believe, if I'm not remembering correctly, like, let me know in the comments. I do believe that Tricell connects to Revelations 1, which I can't even go back. Like, I'm just like so sick. I can't even talk about Revelations because it's just like, why make Revelations 2 if it's not gonna be about it? But whatever. Let's keep going. There's no backtracking. It's a game. It's a movie. Like I said, you just keep going. You keep going. You don't go back. You don't look back, because you don't look back when you go into movies, unless it's like one of those time paradox movies, which are cool when you make it a proper way. The Butterfly Effect is a really good movie. It's sad, but it's a good movie. There's no tyrants. I don't consider masses of black worms to be tyrants. There's not a single tyrant in this game. Wesker's not considered a tyrant. You're just literally yanking all of our chains at this point. There's no tyrant. It doesn't get a check mark for tyrant. Different perspectives. There's no different perspectives. It's co-op. It's not even co-op like Resident Evil 0, when there was a certain cool way that there would be a heartbeat and then you would change characters. And there was a part in Resident Evil 0 where one of them are stuck in like a place. They're stuck and they can't get out because the door handle broke or something, and the other person has to go to the other side, but they have to fight things and do stuff, and it's crazy. And another thing, they make Rebecca the only person that can mix herbs, and Billy Cohen is like stupid and he can't put one herb in another and put it in a paper. Even though he looks like he's got some swag, he has no swag. So that was terrible. But Sheva Alomar, you don't get to see her side of the story. You don't get to see Jill's side of the story. You get to see Wesker's side, and we don't play as Wesker than anybody else's side. And Sheva's is this supporting character to the main character in this game. It's Chris's game. I'll give him that. It's his game. It's not Sheva's game. It would be nice if it was Sheva's game. It'd be cool if we were Sheva, and then it's like, hey, I'm Chris Redfield. See, that's how you bring in Chris Redfield into a game. You don't just have him literally at the very end of your game in Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, that you just shoehorn him in there and he's like, hi, I'm Chris, and you can't even see, he's unidentifiable. He looks like nothing, no rendition of Chris. Maybe the rendition of Chris from a long time ago from Resident Evil 1 when y'all did that live action opening scene with the real people. Maybe he looks like him more than he looks like any rendition. It's literally draw. It's not interpretation. Are you letting your artists write on each other's back and figure out which person in front of them drew what, and the person that's at the end, you take what they're drawing? Because I don't understand how hard it is to just look at prior renditions and make something like that with better graphics. I really don't understand how hard it is. I think you guys are hiring colorblind people. I think you're hiring people who have vision problems. I think y'all need to figure it out and get it fixed before you put it out on display, because that was atrocious. Like, Chris Redfield, he looks so not like Chris Redfield that everyone thought that he was an imposter. Everyone thought he was an imposter. Like, this isn't Chris Redfield. The people that actually knew the game and weren't just coming in because it looks like a scary Call of Duty game. were like, this isn't Chris Redfield. They're like, who are you? Literally, they were asking, who is this dude? But honestly, this should have been Sheva's game, and Chris should have came out, and he should have been the side character, and that would have given us some, I never thought in my mind that Chris was going to die, but since we're getting to 5 and we've been doing this for a while, maybe you should start adding some stakes, because I didn't think he was in trouble in 6. I actually believed he was going to die in 6, but he didn't. He actually didn't. And that's fine. That's 100% fine, because I don't want any of these characters to die. Don't kill off Claire. Don't kill off Jill. If you really want this to keep going, you should have not have killed off Wesker. But since you killed off Wesker, you're kind of in a hole that you got to start killing off people, because you're making them get older as well. Instead of what you did with Zero and went back without having to do much. That was even acceptable. It's not exceptional, it's acceptable. But there are no stakes. As of Resident Evil 5, I feel no stakes whatsoever. I feel like there's nothing that can happen to these people that would make me care about their story going forward. Sheva, if you made Sheva the main character, which of course, why would you ever have especially a black woman main character? Ooh, whoa. But if she were the main character, it would have made us believe that Chris was in danger, because we're not playing as him. Mainly. But it all's well ends well with Resident Evil 5. The zombies, there are different types of creatures, and I'm fine with them, and it's whatever. But like I said before, we are killing people in their village. They are living and existing. And yeah, they're hostile to you. And what are you supposed to do? I really don't want to hear nobody talk about what are you supposed to do if they're hostile. Shut up. They're still people. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be popping caps and whatnot, but I'm saying, it's pretty interesting that since we're not in Anglo-Saxon world, we're killing people instead of killing zombies. Most of the time we're killing zombies in other places that are Anglo-Saxon, but we go to Spain and all of a sudden we're literally watching people coexist in a society and watching them go to church, and we gotta kill them. Okay. It's whatever. I'm just saying, put it into perspective. I'm done talking about that. Now we get to discuss RE Revelations 2. And this really ticks me off. This game really ticks me off because it had a lot of potential. And for wasting my time with Revelations 2, y'all could have very well already made a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake. For all the money you wasted on this stupid, shallow, empty husk of a game. So not Alyson Court Claire, because supposedly she's on this thing where she can't work in a place that they don't have a union or whatever. It's that's crap. Every place should have a union. Every place should have a union. So I'm disappointed in Capcom for not allowing unions or whatever the reason why she's not joining. I do believe there's another reason. They probably said, oh, you're getting too old. They say Marge Simpson's getting too old to play Marge Simpson. Forget yourself all the way. Leave us alone. You will literally allow guys to be playing roles for the rest of their lives until their crusty old age. And you can't allow women to play a voice acting role because you think they're getting too old. I can't. But speaking of unions and whatnot, she's accompanied by not Chloe Price, Moira Burton. Chloe Price's voice actress, ironically enough, had a similar situation to the reason why she didn't come back to reprise her voice that everyone got used to. Even though everyone hated on Chloe Price, her voice actor made that actual role iconic. A lot of people juxtapose Chloe Price with Max Caulfield's personality, and Chloe Price seems to be the main character because she has more personality, while Max is the insert yourself character. But this isn't. I may do Life is Strange because it was all right. People give it a lot more hate than it deserves. But let's talk about the whole situation. So Barry Burton and some random girl, literally. Oh my goodness, this game literally drops the egg sack. They literally drop the egg sack. Disgusting. So each of those groups, Claire and Moira, with Barry and that random stranger girl that no one cares about. There's 6 months that stand in between each story. And I thought that was a cool aspect. That was a very cool aspect, but it kind of makes no sense to explain halfway through. Like, it should have been a reveal, like, later. I don't know. I feel like it should have been a reveal way later. Like, you should have had it carry on the whole charade that we thought that they were there still for a lot longer than you did. But whatever. You started off wrong already. So why is Claire accompanying Barry's child somewhere and it's just like being there? Y'all should not have had that situation. Let me start at the very top. This is Resident Evil Revelations 2, meaning sequel to Revelations 1. Revelations 1 had to do with, had a better story, even though it was a husk of a story and a husk of a game. It was better in comparison. This is the worst Revelations. 2 is the worst Revelations. I have a video on it. Links in the description. In Resident Evil playlist. Honestly, what on earth? Why does it not connect to Revelations? If it was going to connect to Revelations, Jill and Chris should have been in here. Jill and Chris should have been in here. Not Alyson Court Claire. Should have been accompanied with not Roger Craig Smith Chris, or maybe Jill Valentine. It would have been cool. And yeah, you could be like, oh, you want Jill Valentine to be captured again? Might as well be. She's Daphne now, I guess. She's Daphne. She was captured by Wesker, and we don't even get scenes of her being captured or what happened. We just get flashbacks. That would have been some cool thing to add in the DLC. Another storyline to talk about Jill's perspective. But no, you don't care. I guess you don't care about what actually makes sense. You want things that make absolutely no sense, and you want to sell it to us for the exact same price of common sense. Okay. The zombies are 100% not memorable. So, zombies are zombies. That's not really a big deal. These people don't look like they could be saved. There's no tyrants. There's this dude that could have been considered a tyrant, but he's not. And I'm not going to call him a tyrant. He's just a mini boss at best. The story did have potential. Alex Wesker could have been a good villain to keep alive as herself and not Matilda. So let me explain. Alex Wesker is the non-biological sister of Albert Wesker. There's a portrait painted by some dude with them together, which implies that they knew each other, which means that makes no sense that he would die in a volcano. It makes no sense that he would die in a volcano. It's one thing if he had no siblings. It's another thing that he had siblings, because he's talking about a new age and a new world. How can you rule a new world and you in a volcano? Like, I know he didn't intend for him to be in a volcano, but he just put himself with overboard. She was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So what did he think after he killed him? Was he was going to get out of that volcano? He thought that, okay, once I kill Chris and all that, like, I can finally rule the world when you're in a volcano. Like, it's kind of over with when you're in a volcano and you don't have someone coming to save you. The only reason why Chris and Sheva got out of the volcano was because there was a helicopter waiting for them. Nobody was going to wait for him. It's like, oh yeah, he could have jumped and did whatever. Like, there's a lot of what ifs that you're talking to me about. I'm looking at what we've got here. And what we got here is garbage. Alex Wesker's plan in Revelations 2, which has zero, zilch, absolutely, and I mean absolutely nothing to do with Revelations 1 at all. There's not even a hint or a callback to Revelations 1. And there was, it was so small that I missed it. Because I played that game more recently than any other game that I have described perfectly. Her whole goal is to put her consciousness into a body that jives well with this virus, this new virus. I don't know what it is. Don't care. I don't know what its parent virus is. If it's T, G, E, F, G, V, I don't know. Have no idea. I don't care. It's not important enough to me. So she uses this random little girl. Who's her parents? Do we know her parents? Is it Carlos? Is it Leon's kid? No one knows. No one cares. No one even put in the secret reports that we find about her parents. We just don't know who her parents is. You know who her parents are? Do you know the reason or the significance of this little girl other than being a pseudo Sherry for now? Put it in the comments. Because what they did was they just added some random girl to be a pseudo Sherry to Barry and make his time harder. And, oh, she serves a purpose. Shut up. I literally would rather sit there and fight an invisible zombie or an invisible creature by myself without a little kid pointing at it and not doing nothing about it. Like, pick up a rock or something. Do something. Stop running and wasting my time and making me go slower and I have to carry you. FYI, stop adding little girls to movies and games to be scary. Let's just get this out the way. It's just dark. There's nothing scary about this game, and ironically, the forefront of the whole thing is being scared. The fear. That's the theme of this game in particular, and it's just not scary to me. It's only frightening to someone maybe afraid of the dark, because it's really dark. Outside, inside, no matter what, it's dark. And so, let's go back to Alex Wesker and how this is ridiculous. So, she picks this random, good-for-nothing little girl that no one knows, no one cares. Who is she? She just has the right blood she needs, right? So explain to me why she didn't choose a super soldier that has been through literally almost exposed to almost every single virus in the game, Claire Redfield, or someone who has been actually tested on. It would actually make sense for her to steal Jill again, because Jill was stolen by her brother, who we supposedly, based on the fact that we have a portrait of them together. Who's going to draw a portrait of somebody that's not together? Usually when you make those types of pictures, it's because someone's posing for them. Don't give me that crap about, oh, someone just drew that. Like, whatever. They knew each other. If you're going to put that in the game, you're trying to imply that they knew each other. Get out of here with your excuses for this multi-million-dollar company that is screwing everyone over for no reason. That's not what we're here for. We're here to drag. So explain to me why Jill isn't in this game, or Chris. Why did you call it Revelations if it has nothing to do with the first one? Please tell me. Please explain. Sisplain, please. Sisplain, I'm waiting. It's not the same company. That it's not the same enemy. It's not the same enemies. It's not even close to the same virus. One seemed to be more aquatic, and it's just like, yeah, we in boats and whatnot and all that. But still, the other one, we were in a boat too. In the beginning, I do believe, or I can't remember if we were in a boat or not. And regardless, even if we weren't on a boat, why is it connected to Revelations? How is it connected to Revelations? And why'd you call it Revelations if you weren't going to connect it to Revelations? Could have called it freaking something else. Could have called it, what incarnation are we doing? Because we don't know what we're doing. You could have called it, have no clue what we're doing, man. We're just sending something out and seeing what sticks. How about, we just wanted a Claire game and we didn't want to do Code Veronica because reasons. It could have been called anything. But not Revelations 2, because it has nothing to do with Revelations. Now, here you go, guys. Here's an analogy for you. If you buy a game, right, and it's like a wrestling game, and you put it in or you download it from the stupid wherever you're getting it from, and then you start playing it, and then you're expecting to bake cakes, will you be satisfied? Will you be fine with someone saying, well, that's just the direction we're going in? Instead of being a WWE fight, it's a WW cake fight. Like, it's honestly makes no sense. If I put a game in and I'm expecting the game because this is the game, like, it is what it is. We know as a society that 2 means sequel when you're talking about titles. If it has nothing to, like, Sharknado has more in common. Sharknado 2 has more in common with Sharknado 1, which Sharknado is like one of the worst movies on earth. It has a better correlation with its sequel than y'all do. And it's just like, how sad can you be? How sad can you be? But so it would have been interesting if Jill and Claire were finally in the same party together, fighting side by side. And why not add Chris and Barry to go save the people that they love? Why'd you even have to bring Moira in here? Y'all always have to crap on a millennial in every one of y'all's recent games. Like, even Mortal Kombat, Cassie Cage is supposed to be the millennial that you crap on because You made her, it's insane. Chloe Price's voice, it's all connected, literally. I believe that the world's connected, but whatever. Y'all aren't ready for that conversation. My video goes more into detail about the whackness of everything, so I'm not really gonna like talk about it much further, but I'll have to explain to you why they didn't put Jill and Chris in this game. I already know why. Because you knew that this game was not scary. You knew the story was unsuccessful. You knew you put out a bootleg game. So what you did was to make it scarier, quotation marks, quote, like big old huge fat quotation marks, like a billion font. In order to make it scary, you had to hinder the main character with a useless character. Moira, Miss, I don't use guns. Girl, you would have been shot. I would have shot you if I had one, like, I'd get you because you're not going to slow me down. You're not going to slow me down. Like, she was so annoying, picking up sticks in a life and death situation and just dying. Like, you should have used a gun. She's like, oh, sorry, I don't do guns. Sorry, I don't do losers. Like, leave, skedaddle, scoop-did-a-doop. I don't care how your mom died or whatnot. We're in a life and death situation. Pick up a gun and shoot it. I got the bad ending because, of course, I did. I was told a billion times over that she doesn't use guns, and when the one time, the make it or break it moment to where you get the good or bad ending is either she picks up the gun or Claire, someone who is actually well and able-bodied, even despite her, she should have traumatic, if she has a traumatic experience, and she's still going in there. Moira, you're such a loser. You have one traumatic experience and you don't use guns, but Claire had to go through all this. She was infected and all that, and you still playing. She literally killed someone that she knew for like 2 seconds, but she had to kill someone that she cared about, quotation marks. And you can't use guns because of one situation, but whatever. They had to hinder us with losers. And, of course, I get the bad ending because why am I going to allow someone who's shell shock or whatever you want to call it to pick up the gun when if I thought if I did that, I would have died because she doesn't do guns. Like, what if she stops? Like, how was anyone supposed to know to let Moira take the gun and shoot? To, conquer her fear. The theme is fear, but guess what? I wasn't afraid any time in the game. I was not afraid, so you failed that aspect. You already failed. It's not on the table. You can't use, fear was the motif. It's off the table. It's on the floor. There's no 5-second rule for that. And I have one more question. When did Barry and Claire become such good friends? Between Code Veronica or between Degeneration? Like, when does she have time to be close friends with Barry? That's another reason why it made no sense for Claire to be in this game if this was Revelations. Claire could have been in this game for all I freaking cared, because Moira should not have been here, and the little girl should definitely not have been in here. Alex should have been searching for a specimen that was good and viable for her actual purpose. Claire has been exposed to viruses, almost every virus in the franchise, and she was not considered a viable subject. And someone talk about her age. Please, someone talk about her age. Like, we can fight right now, honestly, because she wasn't old. And even if she thought she was old, like, she's not going to die tomorrow. Like, she's not Prince Philip old, okay? She, regardless, whatever you consider old, she wasn't. And if she was, she could have used her body for whatever, because she said she was going to die anyway. She shot herself. She literally shot herself dead. So whoever is going to argue with that obviously didn't play the game. They forgot what made Resident Evil. And I'm going to go down the list of the 6 things that each Resident Evil game needs. Let's see if it still holds up. We're at number 9 right now. So let's see. Horror. It's only scary because it's dark and isolated. For all this, like I said, y'all could have made Code Veronica because it's isolated. You're on an island, like, twice over. Moira is useless, like I said, so pretty disgusting. There's no horror aspect. There's just you're hindered. You're hindered. That's it. Puzzles. There's only one, like 1 or 2 things that you could probably call faux puzzles or pseudo puzzles, if you will. do this, get that, put that there. It's not a puzzle, okay? Sliding a piece to unlock a door, like with your co-op AI character over there, give them something, not a puzzle. I'm puzzled at the fact that Claire is such a loser in this game, and Moira is basically the millennial, I told you. And they literally neuter Claire's personality because she's more of a fuddy-duddy. Like, okay, yeah, she's getting older. Shut up. Literally, shut up. You're keeping Leon the exact same way as he's getting older, and Claire cannot be the exact same way. Oh, she's growing. No, she's not growing. She's not growing. That wasn't growth. If you think that's growth, you haven't played the prior games, because she was never this fuddy-duddy. You're making her that way because Moira has to be a certain way. The way that Moira's acting, it seems like Claire would act more like that. And she's kind of just, I don't know, she's just not Alyson Court. Maybe that's the reason why. There's really no reason why Jill or Chris should not be in this game. But like I said, they did that because they made a bad game. They knew they made a bad game. So they were like, we got to hinder the characters. We can't have two able-bodied characters. Even though Revelations 1 didn't need to do that. Revelations 1 had both characters able to do the same amount of damage, use same guns, could even just have an infinite ammo. And really, you didn't have to worry about them dying because they're using sticks and they're screaming. So let's just talk for a second. At this point, 9 games in, we have met Rebecca Chambers, Billy Cohen, whom we haven't seen since 2002, Jill Valentine, Sheva Alomar, whom we haven't seen since 2009, Carlos Hunk, Quint Keith, and even Ashley Graham. When I'm snatching at Ashley Graham to be in a game and be the main protagonist, you know I'm like fed up. It's just like, can't believe Ethan is even existing. There's so many characters that we have that we did not need Ethan, like, or his family, or his jacked up loser family. Leon doesn't need any more screen time. They're just creating their marketable white knight with catchy one-liners. That's what he is. Backtracking? No, there's no backtracking. Barry goes through stuff that Claire did for a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal. And no backtracking. It gets an F, okay? Let me explain to you the definition of Resident Evil backtracking. Going back to places for things inaccessible prior to completing puzzles or solving specific problems that impede process. That's what I say, in my own words. There's no tyrant. There's a guy that Claire is supposedly dating that is a 2-time loser that is like going against them, and it's another part of the corporation and whatnot. Kind of sounds like Roger Craig Smith's Chris Redfield, but it's not him. I looked him up a long time ago. I don't know what his name is, but literally, y'all got a dude that kind of sounds like Chris and made Claire date him. That's pretty strange. His fight is where the game gets trash. Like I said, I got the bad ending. So when you fight that dude and he becomes a tyrant, not tyrant, because he's not a tyrant, and he doesn't follow you, and it's just like, there's a lot of things that you have to, like, Rachel from Revelations 1 is more of a tyrant than this dude is. And they don't prepare you for the good or bad ending. There's no way of you knowing. And there's no way, like, they punish you for doing what's logical. But whatever. Different perspectives. Like I said, half the roster sucks. And they neutered Claire's personality to give Moira more room to be a punk. Barry shouldn't have been held back with that little girl. Chris should have been his aide. And Claire should have been with Jill, stuck on that island. Alex should have been trying to put her consciousness in a super soldier like Claire, Chris, or Jill. Not a snot-nosed little pipsqueak child. Like, literally, with everyone's experience and exposure to the virus, literally, it could have been Carlos. It didn't have to be a girl. It could have been a guy. It could have been anybody. Literally, could have been any person. Could have been Wesker himself. But y'all killed him off. Revelations could have been before that, but whatever. Y'all don't care about chronological order when you release things, so that was no excuse. And you pulled another Kingdom Hearts and sold the second part of the game as DLC, Moira's story. If you get the good ending, which of course I didn't, When I'm told every 2 seconds that she can't use a gun, how am I supposed to trust her with a gun? Whatever. Resident Evil Revelations 2 gets an F. Next. Here we go to this garbage train wreck trash. I consider the absolute worst Resident Evil game. It's all action, no horror, no suspense. Like, it literally feels like Call of Duty right now. There are 4 campaigns. It's so saturated with people. It's insane. And then you're adding new people. Already saturated. Global saturation. Like, honestly, Ada finally gets her own story. It's strange, stupid, and actually it seems like it's connected to Revelations 1, but they never really talk about Terra Grigia and all that. Leon and Hella, or whatever her name is, I don't care, and her sister, don't care that she dies. Like, if you wanted me to care, 6 was the time to put every single person that's ever been in your games in this stupid movie game. It's a movie game because the way it's set up, y'all wanted a movie, you couldn't have a movie. There's a difference between being cinematic and trying to be a movie. God of War was cinematic. Of course, it's on PlayStation only because Xbox is garbage and we're garbage for being on Xbox. But this game was basically your attempt at a hoopla hoorah. I actually thought it was going to be the end, especially since you're bringing in Jake Loser Bueller. I could care less. Chris and Pierce, who I don't care about his death at the end or his sacrifice. Could care less. Chris is an alcoholic. I expect that. He's been through a lot. But this is when you should have brought Claire. Leon and Claire should have been in the same team together, not this Hella Grigia, whatever your name is, girl. Like, I could care less about you and your sister. I laugh as she dies in your arms. But Chris and Jill should have been a team in this stupid game. Sherry, if you're going to bring Sherry, then Sherry could have been on Leon's team if you weren't going to bring in Claire, which I really don't know why you didn't bring in Claire. Like, is this supposed to be, like, going on at the same time as Revelations 2? Or what, man? Like, honestly, y'all are really playing games with the timelines anyway. I do not believe that it's Albert Wesker's son. That is Jake Mueller is maybe his, like, identical twin or something with his DNA. They probably got his DNA, just like they did with Alexia and Alfred Ashford. But he did not have sexual relations with that woman. And literally, Ada's side story was yet again another afterthought. I'm starting to take it personally. As, like, even as a fan, like, I hate Ada, and it's just like, y'all really doing her dirty. Like, you didn't even care about her side person, so you just gave her a nameless person to be with. Like, if anyone, like, honestly, if you guys were gonna play this stupid, oh, will they, won't they, I would have been 10,000% better. Like, I would have been still upset because I hate Ada, but if you're gonna put Ada in this game, why not put Ada and Leon on the same team? And then it would still X out this girl that no one cares about. Carlos should have been in this game. Jill should have been in this game. Literally 6 should have been the hoopla, all around 6 people. Leon, Chris, Jill, Ada, Claire, Carlos. Like, it should have been, even could have been Rebecca. Could have been Billy Cohen, literally. I don't understand. Like, y'all have no imagination. Like, y'all don't care. Like, y'all really don't care. Like, y'all don't care at all whatsoever. Y'all don't care. You don't. You're like, oh, thank you to the fans. Like, the fans will stop supporting you. The fans will stop buying your stuff. The fans are fed up. The fans will go where the fans will go, and they will no longer be your fans. Neo Umbrella is the enemy of this one. Not the people from Resident Evil Revelations. Not the people from Resident Evil 5. It's like, what was the point of these games if they were never going to actually make any sense in the end? The Tyrant sucks. It's basically the Crocodile Run, like, from Resident Evil 2 Remake. Running scene where you must move either left or right to get away from the attack. Absolute worst game in Resident Evil 3. It's pretty tragic and disgusting. Let's go down the list. Horror. It's horrific that it was even made. It's horrific that anyone got a cent of inflow income from any products relating to Resident Evil 6. Any products. even if a pen sold, Resident Evil 6 pen, I really, like, I'm going into shock right now because the fact that they made a cent. Puzzles, there was zero puzzles. Zero. If you thought there was a puzzle, there wasn't a puzzle. Backtracking, no backtracking. It's a movie. The Tyrant, like I said, and it's only in one person's storyline. It doesn't even trail over like Mr. X and whatnot, like in Resident Evil 2. The different perspectives, there's like a billion people on this roster, and I don't care for half of them. Just like Resident Evil Revelations, I didn't care for half of them either. I cared about Barry, didn't care about Scarlet or whatever that little girl's name is. I could care less. I could care less what her name is. Could care freaking less. Zombies, not memorable. They weren't anything special. There was no hoopla about them. And finally, at long last, we are at where we're left with prior to Village, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So when you made this, you guys literally completely forgot what Resident Evil was. So what you did was you were like, how can we make a movie without making a movie? Instead of just making a movie, just freaking make a movie. You got all this money, you've got all these fans waiting for something. We're literally suckling at the empty teat of nothing. How about you just make a movie? Stop making these stupid games, movie games. Like, I don't want movie games. I paid to play a game, not to watch a movie. So basically, the whole reason why they're doing this first person situation is first, it's easy to just morph to VR, virtual reality. And also, it gives it more Call of Duty vibe. So you're going to get people who are like quick shooter, no scope shooters playing this game as well. Great. Just what we need. We must get to know yet another main character and a bunch of side characters that we shouldn't care about, I guess, because they all die. He sucks and barely acknowledges anything in his environment. They fixed it in Village, supposedly, based on the PlayStation players who are already playing the demo, even though Xbox players can't do nothing right now. We're just sitting here on our thumbs. I don't care where it started. Someone was like, it started on PlayStation. Do I care? Do I care? It's not ending on PlayStation. Xbox still exists. Hello. The story and how it connects to the whole arching story is subpar at best, excluding Chris's shoehorned inclusion. Like, literally, he's unidentifiable. You guys, how hard is it to straight up just create the same face that you see before you? Chris has been going through a metamorphosis. I'm really going to blame it on the virus, like the Chris virus, because for some reason he changes his face every time he morphs his form. Every time we see him in the game, like, why does he look more like Chris now than when he did, like, 2 days ago? Like, if 7 is supposed to be literally a little bit before Village, why on earth does he look like he's in his 20s? Y'all don't care. Y'all just don't care, man. This blue umbrella or whatever is, like, ridiculous. I didn't like the fact that they're like, it's cleaning up Umbrella's mess. Like, they would never allow this rebrand situation to happen. They could call it literally anything else. You could have just said BSAA because that's what he was doing. Y'all just didn't want to do that because I guess you don't want to bring back Sheva Alomar because she's a BSAA member. Just like Jill Valentine's a BSAA member. I don't know why you didn't want to bring her back. Why did we have to even look at Ethan? Like I said a very long time ago, we have a very long roster of people whom we haven't seen in a very long time, which are, but not limited to, Rebecca Chambers, Billy Cohen, Quint, Keith, Parker, anybody. Literally Carlos. Now that Carlos is back in the loop of people probably didn't even know Carlos was in the third game. And then if Nikolai exists still, what's the point of Nikolai even living if he wasn't going to be coming back? Strange. We just get Chris shoehorned in here. And I'm telling you, man, if he dies, I'm gonna be done. I can't, because how are you guys gonna be remaking the games and then continue with the the current the current timeline? It's like we're gonna see Chris die and then we're gonna see him alive again in the games and movies. That's stupid. You are so stupid. Ethan is not a good protagonist. Mia literally tries to kill you the entire game. I gave the serum to Zoe and got the bad ending, non-canon ending, because of course I did. I did the logical thing, just like literally next time I'm just going to do the illogical thing, because that's what you guys want me to do to get the good ending. You want me to give the serum to someone who's been trying to kill me the entire time rather than someone who's been helping me this entire time. That's what you're telling me. Just like you wanted me to leave Claire Redfield's life in the hands of a girl who wasn't going to touch a gun to save her own life. But I'm supposed to think that she's going to pick a gun up and save mine. Okay. Let's just be dumb. We dum-dums now. We Patrick mixed with Homer J. Simpson. Let's go. Dehydrated and everything. The grandma being Evelyn was a good twist, except guess what? It wasn't a good twist because you left the picture and the name of what her virus was or whatever on the back. So it's like it basically told us that Evelyn was the grandma, and it was strange that we kept seeing her in places that she shouldn't have been able to get to by herself. That was strange too. It was supposed to be for the scary factor. By the way, this game isn't scary. It's just dark. Like a lot of other games you guys are trying to make scary. Like, why are we still in first person? Can we stop this first person stuff? This nonsense? Oh, and another thing. With the zombies. These aren't really zombies. They're just mold monsters. And they have no form, really. They barely look like any creature. They barely look like humans. And it's just one easy form that they can just multiply over and over again. There's like two different types. There's like one that's standard and the other one is kind of like stronger a little bit. And then those things that are reminiscent of liquors, except they're like low budget, low cut, low rendition. So you guys are lazying it up. Here we go, lazying it up. Not putting any effort into the creatures. You put more effort into the creatures when you didn't have to edit so much and do too much. But if you want our money, you're going to have to, work for it instead of just giving us crap and saying, well, pay the exact same price if it were great. No. Jack is really funny for all of 2 seconds, and then he gets dumb. He's not the tyrant. He does not qualify as a tyrant at all whatsoever, so nope, sorry. There's no tyrant in this game. It's horrible that it was ever made, just like a few of your other ones. The puzzles, moving a little piece to make it fit in this, like a shadow puppet or whatever, a shadow puzzle thing is not a puzzle. It's just like keep flipping a piece of wood until you get it. That's not the puzzles we are accustomed to. It's boo-boo baby, boo-boo and brain cell puzzles, okay? Get better with the puzzles. Get better, get good, or go home. No backtracking. There's kind of backtracking a little bit, but it's on tapes, and that's ridiculous. Like, I'm so sick of these tapes things, because it's like, how do you lose in a tape? Like, y'all trying to get unique where you don't need to be unique. Be unique with your story, not with how you're telling the story. Ooh. Felt like you opened a fortune cookie there? Well, use it wisely. The different perspectives? Nope. We are in Mia's perspective for like 2 seconds. It doesn't really matter. If you gave Zoe the formula thing, then it doesn't really matter because she dies. And if you do what you're supposed to do, which you had really no idea of knowing it was going to work or not, it's like whatever. It doesn't add nothing to the story. It's not really a perspective thing. You go into the past and play as Mia as well, but it's just like doesn't matter because it's already happened. And it gives no context that matters to the ultimate plot or help you figure out anything, really. The only tapes that help you are the Clancy tapes, and that was better than the whole Mia situation. And Another thing, Clancy, like all these people that we don't know. This isn't Resident Evil. You could have named this game something else. You could have called it Biohazard and that's it. No Resident Evil. Stop selling these games that you're trying to create as Resident Evil because it's not Resident Evil. Just take the name out. I'm not going to try to make Mortal Kombat game into a Candy Crush game, okay? And I'm not going to buy out like the franchise and make Mortal Kombat into a Candy Crush game. That's not how this works. You can't just buy off a company and then just be like, well, this is this now, because it's like, we'll just not buy. We'll just not buy. And like I said, the zombies, they're just walking pieces of mold. There's nothing really distinguishable about any of these zombies. And then the ones that are distinguishable, it's like, okay, whatever. There's these fat pussy ones that are just like, okay, here we go, get too close and they explode. Oh, I'm so scared. Like Revelations 1 had better zombies, and they had that flesh tone that I can't stand, and they looked more like those things from Amnesia than any zombie that's ever been in this game, and they were better. Sit and stew in that for a bit. 7 gets an F. Not very, it's like there's nothing. Y'all literally have just like wasted away, like from beginning to end, from 0 to now. What are you guys really accomplishing? You're taking everything away that made Resident Evil, and it's just like no one is giving you ridiculous critiques like, oh, well, we should always have the ability to use typewriter, because times go on. I didn't expect a typewriter in 6 because it was later down in the timeline. You could probably have an ink ribbon somewhere as a little homage, but I don't expect to be always on typewriters. I expect it in games, if you're going to remake them, that they were in prior to, because remakes are remaking of what you see, not completely revamping things that were never there or had the potential to be there. Like I've said many times, there were too many characters that we have in canon that are alive, confirmed alive, that we didn't need this Resident Evil, let's go off the beaten path biohazard garbage. We didn't. Getting into Village, it looks like it's going to be a lore dump, most definitely. The exact same lore dump that The Legend of Korra was for Avatar The Last Airbender. I hypothesized the 4 families that are the denominations of the 4 founding families of Umbrella, Birkin, Spencer, Ashford, and Marcus, are going to be in like this whole situation. One of them's going to be vampires. I'm sure the Ashfords are going to have to do with vampires, maybe. Who knows? And the werewolves might be Birkin, and Marcus and Spencer are going to be the other 2. I don't know what the rest of them are going to be. Maybe sirens or whatever. Since one of them had to do like the leeches, maybe that one's siren and the other one's I can't remember the other one, but it's like that. I think it's going to be a lore dump of what we already know, and it's going to be like giving extra stuff that we didn't care about. Like, we didn't care about where the Avatar came from. We just thought it was cool. We don't care about the reason why they were even able to be this way. It's kind of like they're falling into that whole thing where everyone's in a deep situation where the rich are, because they were rich. Every single person that made Umbrella was rich. There's like some secret conspiracy. I think that's what this game's going to be about, and I think that's why Chris is in it. But it's like, where's Claire? Where's Jill? You're not going to kill off Chris before he gets to have a child with Jill. That's just not polite, honestly. It's just not polite. You make me sick, and you have no manners, and your parents didn't teach you, I guess. We didn't need this game right now, honestly. Village, we do not need this game right now. We do not. If y'all could cut it out and just be like, we're not going to send it out right now, that'd be amazing. Because we're going to be oversaturated. And I just don't like that. I don't like it. We're not ready for that right now. We could have been ready for a Silent Hill game, but I don't see one being made. And when y'all were going to make one, you kind of like stopped for some reason. We're about to see Chris die, and like I said, we're going to be seeing him alive in games and remakes and reboots and rehashes in series and whatnot. Or see a timeline where he's still alive, and it's just like, Village is going to literally be nothing. Mean nothing. Because you're remaking the games already. And it's going to make it harder for us to take Code Veronica seriously. Because Chris is in that game. And if we already know he dies, what's the point of caring? That's why we shouldn't have this game right now. But yeah, that was it. All those from 0 to 7. How did we get here? It's been a long ride. It's been long. It's been very long. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm glad that you made it this far. Please, let's have a discussion if you have any disagreements, or if you agree, we can like have a conversation. Like, subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Done.